Okay.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to meet with us this afternoon. We appreciate it. This is part of our voter education program, and what the Citizens League endeavors to do is to provide nonpartisan information and evaluations to help the voters make their decisions, and we appreciate you taking the time to help us out with that. We have 35 minutes today, and we'll start with giving you 5 minutes to introduce yourself and introduce your campaign, and then we'll jump into questions. And we don't have, we all have issues that we like to address and questions in mind, but we may ask a question that comes up based on something you say or something that comes up in our discussion. So it's not heavily formatted, and we're here to, again, just elicit information to help the voters make up their minds. We'll have the digital dossiers posted on our website. We invite you to take a look at that to make sure we get the background information correct when we get that up there. And then we'll eventually have a link to this video. So with that, I'll turn things over to you and let you start off with your statement, and then we'll get into the questions.
Okay. Thank you for having me here today. I'm Lynn Ruffner, and I am seeking support for the District 9 County Council race. Briefly, I just completed 2 terms here in the city of Shaker Heights as a council person. The last 2 years I served as vice mayor of the city. Vice mayor of the city, for many people, is often related to what people call city council president. But in here in the city of Shaker Heights, we call it vice mayor. Tell you a little bit about myself. And are you going to give me like 5-minute prompts? Because I could. You're going to prompt me because I can go on much longer.
We'll let you know if it's going on too long. 5 minutes is just a ballpark. So
okay.
So feel free.
Okay. Thank you. I want to start by first giving you just a little bit of background about myself. I worked for the last 30 years for the state of Ohio for an agency called the Rehabilitation Services Commission. And a lot of other people know it locally as the Bureau of Vocational Rehab, BVR. It was a state agency that worked with people who had severe disabilities in helping them secure training and get back into the world and become productive employees. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm licensed by the state of Ohio, and I have maintained my license since I retired in '09. While I was with the Voc Rehab Agency, my job was pretty much called an employer services specialist / counselor. So what my role was, I assumed the clients after they had been through their vocational training, and I worked with them out in the community and helping them go to work. I went out and talked to businesses about employing persons with disabilities. Simultaneously, I maintained a career for the last 20 plus years as a college professor. I'm an adjunct professor at Lakeland College, and I teach the behavioral sciences there. And I am also adjunct with a school out of Clinton, Iowa by the name of Walden University. And that is an online school. I've been teaching in the online environment for probably about 8 years now. I decided in 2006, after having spent a good 15 to 20 years providing services to the city of Shaker Heights, I had the opportunity. I have a 27-year-old son, and he is a graduate of Shaker Schools, currently a second-year law student at Marshall. But I made a commitment very early on when he went into preschool at the Sussex Center that I was going to be an involved mother. So I had the opportunity of being the parent-teacher organization president at every school we went to. So we went from preschool all the way through high school. I became the citywide parent-teacher organization president. You know us as PTO. I served as PTO president here in Shaker Heights. So I reached a point where he had to graduate from high school and he had to further his educational career, and he was prepared to move on to Miami University, and I was ready to go there to be part of the parent-teacher organization. And he kind of turned me around. He says, I think we've had enough of this. So at the same time, I had worked on the campaign of Judy Rawson twice and had explored with Judy the transition going from being involved in a parent-teacher organization to being involved with some city-based things. And she helped me reflect upon the fact of I'm a graduate of Leadership Shaker. I'm a graduate at Shaker Heights Citizens Police Academy. I started the alumni group here for the Shaker Heights Citizens Police Academy alumni group. I was a founding member of the Shaker Family Center, and just had been contributing a lot while my son was going through school, but at that point could not make a commitment to serving on city council. And it was at that point that I decided to explore serving on city council, and I ran for office, and I was successful and had 2 4-year terms on city council. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting to tell you anything about some other pointers about me. I'm the first vice president of the Shaker Heights Democratic Club. I am a graduate of the Democratic Leadership Institute. The Ohio Democratic Party established in the summer of 2013 a leadership institute, and I am a fellow of that and was part of the very first class. I am a member of the Shaker Heights League of Women Voters, the Cuyahoga County Women's Democratic Club, and currently and for the last 25 years, I have chaired a commission under the direction of the county commissioners and also currently our county executive, Ed Fitzgerald. And it is a non-paid position, and it is the Council on Persons with Disabilities. Basically, we are charged with helping the county and those things that fall under the county executive, and in the past, the county commissioners address the needs of those that have disabilities. And after I retired, I knew that I wasn't going to stay locked into that particular profession, but I knew that I wanted to carry something forth into the future, and I continue to maintain my leadership of that organization. So that's a little bit of history about myself, and you'll find additional information in the folder that can really elaborate much closer on that.